I am Cybex author William Panek. In this video, we will cover 3 different exercises. Exercise from Chapter 6.1 on creating sites, Exercise 6.2 for creating subnets, and Exercise 6.3 configuring sites. We're going to do all 3 of these exercises in this video. When we're ready to create sites, the first thing we have to do is we have to go into the Active Directory Sites and Services. I'm going to click on the Windows key and then choose Administrative Tools. When Administrative Tools appears, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the Active Directory Sites and Services. Once Active Directory Sites and Services appears, on the left-hand side, I'm going to go ahead and expand my sites. You notice that I have a site already created. It's called Default First Site. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that. I'm going to right-click and I'm going to choose Rename. And what I'm going to change this to is I'm going to make this the Corporate Headquarters. So I'm going to name it Corporate HQ. And now I actually have changed my default first site to Corporate HQ. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Sites. I'm going to right-click and I'm going to say New Site. And this time I'm going to choose Farmington. Once I put in a name here, I need to actually click on a link that this is going to use to link this site with the other sites. So I'm going to go ahead and just choose the default IP site link, and I'll say OK. Then it's basically going to ask me to finish. Are you sure you want to do this? I'm going to say OK, and you'll now notice that I have a site named Farmington. Then I'm going to right-click on Sites again and say New Site, and this time I'm going to make it Portsmouth. Then I'm going to click on Default IP Site Link, and I'm going to say OK. And now I've actually created 3 sites called Corporate HQ, which was already there. We renamed. We made the Farmington site and the Portsmouth site. So that right there actually covers Exercise 6.1. Exercise 6.2 was creating subnets for these sites. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to click on my subnets, and you'll notice there's nothing underneath. So I'll right-click, and I'm going to say New Subnet. And then I'm going to actually type in the IP address for my new subnet. So, for example, this one's going to be 10.10.10.0/24. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually associate that with one of the sites. So I'm going to make that Farmington, and I'm going to say OK. Then I'll click on Subnets, and I'm going to say New Subnet. And this time I'm going to say 10.10.11.0/24. And I'm going to make that one Portsmouth. Now what we're actually doing here is we're actually saying that if someone logs on and they're on the 10.10.10.0 subnet, that they're automatically going to be associated to the Farmington site. In this part of the exercise, Exercise 6.2, I showed you how to actually associate subnets to sites. Exercise 6.3 had us configuring sites. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on the Farmington site. Then we're going to expand it, and we're going to click on Servers. And then I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to say New Server. And at this point, I'm going to type in a domain controller that I have for this particular site. And our domain controller is Farmington DC1. And I'm going to say OK. I'm going to expand Portsmouth. I'm going to click on Server, right-click, and I'm going to say New Server. And this server is going to be Portsmouth DC1. And then I'm going to do it again. And this time I'm going to have a Portsmouth DC2. And I'm going to say OK. So what we've done here is we've actually configured 2 servers to the Portsmouth site. Now, the final thing we're going to do as part of this exercise is I'm going to expand my inner site transports, and I'm going to actually click on the SMTP. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click, and I'm actually going to say New Site Link. And I'm going to set up a new site link between Farmington and Portsmouth. So I'm going to add Farmington, and I'm going to add Portsmouth, and I'm going to call this farm port, and I'm going to say OK. And now I have a farm port site link that will connect those particular sites if I want to use it. In this video, I showed you 3 different exercises. Exercise 6.1 on creating sites, exercise 6.2 creating subnets, and exercise 6.3 configuring sites.